What's going on? I'm recording this video on Sunday. This should be coming out on Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas. We got NBA games all day today with a couple NFL games sprinkled in there, but I wanted to talk about the NBA and just kind of how I felt through the first, 33, 34, 35-ish games now throughout the season. And there's a part of me that feels like the regular season and playoffs are going to be completely and totally pointless. Because it feels like we're just on this set course for the Oklahoma City Thunder to play against the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Now, it almost never turns out this way, but when you've watched all of these teams play, like the Boston Celtics are clearly the best team in the Eastern Conference. They are head and shoulders above everybody else because of the way that they defend, shoot, and the fact that they have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, probably one of the best 1-2 duos in the NBA, and then, they got role players galore between White and Holiday and Al Horford, and Peyton Pritchard might win Sixth Man of the Year, and, Porzingis has barely even played, and he makes them even better. Like, they just ran back the team that won the title last year, and, although teams like Cleveland look awesome, like, part of me just kind of feels like Darius Garland's just going to get abused in the playoffs defensively because of his lack of size. You look at, Milwaukee, who's been, surging here as of late, obviously won the in-season tournament. Giannis is awesome, and Damian Lillard's awesome. And when you have players that good on your team, then you can beat anybody. But the other thing was here and trying to tell me that they're as deep as the Boston Celtics are. The Magic are fun, but they're young and intriguing. I just don't know if they're going to have enough offense to beat Boston. The Knicks now have a ton of offense because Karl Anthony Towns is fit in really well there, but defensively they're like hovering around 20th in defensive rating. Meanwhile, Boston's top 10 in both. So I just don't know if New York's going to be good enough defensively to beat a team like Boston. And so through Christmas, it just kind of feels like Boston's way better than everybody in the East. And then I look out west where things are definitely way tougher for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, the Nuggets are the 5 seed. They've got the best player on the planet, so they're capable of winning any series. The Warriors are going to probably add someone at the trade deadline, or at least they're hoping to. That'll make them a little bit more interesting. The Mavs have Luka, played in the finals last year, right? So, they're very capable, bringing in Najee Marshall and Grimes and guys that can really play, but they just don't seem like they're as deep or as talented offensively as Oklahoma City. Memphis is awesome. Ja Morant, though, I just feel like if your best player is an inconsistent shooter, that's going to spell problems in the playoffs when things become more physical and refs just kind of tend to let more things go. I love Houston. Arguably my favorite team to watch this year. I've had a blast. It seems like whenever they're on League Pass, I just find myself kind of gravitating towards their games, but look, you're not winning a title if Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green are your two best players. It's just not going to happen. And then you look at the Thunder. I mean, they haven't really even played any games yet with Holmgren and Hartenstein both available. And when they have both of those bigs out there, I mean, they're going to be an absolute problem. Like Memphis is awesome, and maybe I'm underrating them. If I am, please just tell me in the comments. But I just feel like Oklahoma City, they just feel like they are far and away the best team in the West, which I really hate saying because the Western Conference is so incredibly deep this year. But I feel like we're set on this collision course of Oklahoma City and Boston. Look, if you don't think it's going to be those two teams in the NBA Finals, which, look, it's early, the trade deadline hasn't happened, teams are going to make moves, but Oklahoma City and Boston right now feel far superior to everybody else. Part of that being because they just don't have any defensive liabilities on their teams. Like, going back to the Eastern Conference, I already mentioned, as great as Cleveland is, Darius Garland, a real liability on defense. New York, Karl Anthony Towns is a real liability, and Jalen Brunson as well because of his lack of size. That's two liabilities on defense. Already mentioned Orlando. I just don't think that they have the offense. But defensively, that's a team that matches up really well with Boston. And then we go out west. Ja Morant's 6'2". I know he's super athletic, but he's kind of skinny as well. His lack of size could be an issue when the playoffs come around. We saw Luka get abused in the NBA Finals by Boston last year. He's the defensive liability. And then you look at Denver. It's Jokic. Even though when you're that big, if you're just in the way, you're going to cause problems. But I look at Oklahoma City. It's a ton of offense, a ton of, or not a ton of 3-point shooting, but enough 3-point shooting to get them by one of the 5 best players in the world in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then I look at the Boston Celtics, and it's the same thing. A bunch of guys who can defend, pass, and shoot, and handle the ball. And a guy in Jason Tatum who's playing like one of the 5 best players in the world. And I just feel like we're set for this collision course. And unless a major move happens, nothing's going to change. Still, I'm going to enjoy the NBA season, but I just feel like we're set on this track, and we're not coming off of it. Boston and Oklahoma City feel like they are both hands down the 2 best teams in the NBA. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Subscribe if you want more stuff on the NBA, college football, and the NFL. Thank you so much for watching my video. Once again, Merry Christmas, and I will talk to you again soon.